healthcare reform. That's what engagement and involvement is all about. The squeaky wheel is being heard. We are not going to take the back seat. We're going to be a partner in the world, and Pakistan is going to be a partner in the United States in Homeland Security, being heard, being a partner, helping us make America great, but also helping to build U.S.-Pakistan relations. If you are prepared to do that, then I am prepared to work with you, and we can make this together.
And though I'm new to Congress, I'm not new to the impact and good work of people of Pakistani descent. As you know, the LA area is home to many Pakistanis, 150,000, which is roughly a third of those that are in the US. And I have had the pleasure of interacting with so many outstanding business leaders and professionals in the area. In fact, there's so many outstanding persons in the fields of medicine, computer software, and hardware engineering. Many entrepreneurs of Pakistani descent own large businesses in areas such as information technology, textiles, manufacturing, and real estate, and businesses of a smaller scale that are common throughout my area. And those of you that are here today are prime examples of these incredible achievements. For so many people, owning and running a business is the practical means for hardworking individuals who are trying to achieve the American dream. Now, I know a little bit about that because my grandfather came here with nothing in his pockets, and he faced the discriminatory laws that were in the United States at the time. For instance, the laws saying that Chinese Americans could not become naturalized citizens. That was the Chinese Exclusion Act, as well as the California laws that said that Asian Americans could not own land nor be hired in any corporation. But he decided to make something of it anyway, and he opened up a small Chinese restaurant in Watts. And he worked night and day and night using that very expensive labor, his sons, and he was able to make something of it. So now 2 generations later, here, his granddaughter can become a member of Congress.
Wow.
But lately, it does seem as though it is more and more difficult for business owners to stay afloat, much less achieve their financial goals. We've experienced the changes in housing markets, the economic downturn, the ongoing recession that has slowed business growth and reduced job opportunities.
The fundamental thing that I wanted to explain why this particular initiative is important is the way our exports are structured. I think some of you who are familiar with the total composition of what we send to the US would know that nearly 88% of what we export to the US is textiles and apparel. Unfortunately, despite having a very close relationship with the US, we are not beneficiaries of any preference program at this moment in time. The only other preference program to which we have access is what we call the Generalized System of Preferences. This is a US program which basically is for all developing countries, which allows imports from all these developing countries on duty-free basis. Unfortunately for us, most textiles are excluded from the scope of GSP. So we have not been able to take advantage like other countries have, particularly countries like Brazil and some other South and Central Asian American countries. In absence of a trade preference program, the only opportunity that we had was the ROZs, because in the ROZs we have a number of textile tariff lines included. 52% of what we export was included in the scope of this program. Hence, we saw an opportunity of having a program which gave access to our textiles on preferential basis to the US. But we've, even though realizing that this was not a perfect instrument from our perspective, we would rather see all textiles included in scope of this program. But given the difficulties and the strength of the local textile lobbies, it was clearly understood that at this moment in time, it may not be possible to get all textiles included. So we saw it as a good first starting step, if we could get it materialized. But it has been quite a struggle, let me admit that. It's been over 3 years and we are still at a point where you heard this saying that we really don't know whether we'll be able to conclude this before the end of this year. The reason why it is in a state of logjam right now has nothing to do with Pakistan. It's domestic US politics which is at this point in time holding up the legislation. There are certain labor conditions which were initially included in one of the bills which was supposed to benefit Haiti. This was a bill which was passed last year. It had a very extensive set of labor-related conditions which the Democrats included in this bill. On the heels of that came the ROCs. Unfortunately, the timing was such, and the Democrats once again succeeded in attaching the same identical conditions to the ROCs. Now, these are the conditions which are, for ideological reasons, unacceptable to some of the people in the Republican Party. So the standoff at this moment in time is between the two parties which insist, one camp insists that these labor conditions should not be there, the other camp insists that they would rather not have the bill if these labor conditions are not. So let me clarify that, we have assured the US government that we have either way, if you have a text which includes these labor conditions, or if you give us the other one, which is the more preferred one, which is the Senate version of Senator Cantwell's bill, we can live with both versions of the bill. As Chris mentioned, we are signatories to 36 conventions of ILO. We are also signatories to all the core conventions, 8 core conventions of ILO. Maybe in some regards we are ahead of the US because the US has still not signed on to some of the conventions.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to congratulate Mr. Ali Con and the Council of Pakistan, American Chamber of Commerce, for organizing this first ever CEO Convention 2009 at the Capitol Hill. At a time when the US Senate and Congress have passed the Kerry Lugar bill, tripling the US aid to Pakistan during the next 5 years to combat extremism with economic and social development. United States and Pakistan enjoy a friendship which has spanned over 60 years, and it can be termed as a great wisdom shown by our leaders who selected USA as their partner right at the nascent stage of the country. The political relations between both the countries have seen many ups and downs, but interestingly, most of the political and development achievements